Coming up here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, I'm Chase Sr. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Thursday. We have some new reporting and developments on the Brandon Aiyuk front. Also, Brock Purdy on fire during Niners practice today at training camp. Let's get into the latest, and before we do that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This is the largest independently run Niners channel right here on YouTube, bringing you shows every single day, so hit that sub button right now, and we will be doing a watch party, Niners Saints Sunday Night Football right here on this show, and of course every single day we give you some informative, insightful, thought-provoking Niners coverage. Let's get to the latest on Brandon Aiyuk here, and then we'll talk about Brock Purdy being on fire at Niners training camp today. Brandon Aiyuk has been at Niners training camp each of the last 2 days. This is significant for a couple of reasons, because he did not, prior to yesterday, attend any training camp practices for 2 weeks since he had dapped up Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. He was away from the team. Aiyuk has been engaging, talking, speaking with coaches and teammates, chopping it up with multiple members of this organization. And he has looked particularly involved and interested in what the Niners are doing offensively, team drills, individual drills, what's transpiring at practice. It looks as though he's been a part of the team. It's much different from the contrary, where Brandon Aiyuk on the sideline has bad body language, he's not paying attention, he is just waiting to get dealt, and he's disinterested. Some people are going to try to tell me that doesn't matter. I think all of this matters a little bit, because this comes after Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network had reported 2 nights ago, injecting some confidence in the Aiyuk situation, that the Niners have increased their offer. It's the first time they've reportedly increased their offer since the spring, when they offered him about $26 million per year. Garafolo said that both Aiyuk and his agent and the Niners are closing in and getting closer on a deal, and they've agreed to a lot of the key aspects of a contract extension. They just need to figure out some nuances in that deal, and there's a lot to that. It's loaded. It could be years. It could be total money. It could be average annual value, guaranteed money, signing bonus, money up front. All of those elements go into a nuanced contract. So that's the latest as far as Aiyuk coming to camp and the significance of that. Steelers rumors have obviously been hot all offseason long pertaining to Aiyuk, and there's some new reporting on that front. A lot of people have this question. What have the Steelers offered the Niners? If San Francisco were to trade a second-team All-Pro to Pittsburgh right before the start of the season, what's the trade package that they're getting back? Well, according to Gary Dullac of the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, he's covered this team for a long time, the Steelers are only giving up draft picks for Brandon Aiyuk. No players. So if you're the Niners here, you have one of the best wide receivers in the game. You drafted him in the first round. You've seen him become an all-pro. He has a great kinship with Brock Purdy. He's the perfect wide receiver for this offense because he's a willing blocker and has every route to his route tree. His family members grew up as Niner fans. He wants to come back to San Francisco, has an opportunity to win. He can continue to increase his brand for an iconic organization, play for a great offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan, and it all makes sense on that front, right? And if you're the Niners, you're getting no players back for Brandon Aiyuk if you make this trade. That does not help San Francisco improve this year to win a Super Bowl. You lose Aiyuk, you get draft picks. How does that help you chase your 6th Lombardi trophy? It doesn't. So are the 49ers really going to let a few $1 million per year and a few $1 million in guaranteed money be the deciding factor in trading Aiyuk away instead of maximizing the current iteration of this San Francisco 49ers roster? That would be a disaster for the Niners. So Gary Dullac, Pittsburgh Post Gazette, reporting that the Steelers aren't sending the Niners any players, only draft picks. If you're San Francisco, it makes no sense to trade Aiyuk for draft compensation. If you were to do that, it would have made sense in the lead up to the NFL draft, because then you could have drafted players then who can help you now. 2025 draft picks don't help you right now as you're this close to winning a Super Bowl with a really talented roster, maybe the most talented team in the National Football League. Let's now talk about Brock Purdy. Purdy on fire during Niners practice today. Nick Wagner, ESPN, with a really good write-up. He said it was a good day for the offense, especially quarterback Brock Purdy. He had Purdy down at 21 of 25, including an 8 of 8 stretch to open up team drills. In one team period, Brock Purdy hitting George Kittle and then Deebo Samuel on intermediate gains, and then connected with Kittle on a well-thrown deep ball down the left sideline over George Odom and Renardo Green. Purdy able to spread the ball around a lot today, but had productive practices and performances from Kittle, Deebo. They both continue to have good training camps in addition to Juwan Jennings. Purdy and Deebo also connected a couple of times on really well-thrown balls that were placed perfectly to avoid the tight coverage from Deommodore Lenoir, an excellent player, by the way, and that pairing had a touchdown connection in the red zone. Doesn't that sound a lot like what we've seen from Brock Purdy to start his NFL career? Brock Purdy accurate, Brock Purdy decisive, Brock Purdy efficient, Brock Purdy finding a groove, Brock Purdy able to find his targets in small windows with great accuracy, throwing footballs right beyond the reach of defenders. And in this case, Deommodore Lenoir, who's one of the fastest rising cornerbacks in the National Football League. So things pointing up, I think, on the Brandon Aiyuk front. Brock Purdy right now playing well for San Francisco during training camp, on fire today, very efficient. As we look forward, I'm very curious about this, right? Niners starters did not play week 1 of the preseason against Tennessee. Will the Niners and Kyle Shanahan play their starters week 2 against New Orleans on Sunday night, especially after the Niners had to cancel joint practices? A lot of teams these days, because they're in a controlled environment and they can evaluate what they do against other teams, will use joint practices as preseason experience for their football team. And they won't play a majority or any of their starters in the preseason if they get some good reps, perform well, show some signs of growth and development and progress offensively during training camp against another team. Niners haven't had that opportunity. And for the first time under head coach Kyle Shanahan, the Niners are not going to have any joint practices because they're not doing it against the Las Vegas Raiders next week in the lead up to the preseason finale. Kyle Shanahan confirming that news. So the Niners have only been able to practice against themselves. I think at some point you need some real live game reps as a litmus test to see where you're at, see what you have to improve on in the lead up to the season opener against a very good New York Jets team, and knock off some rust in the lead up to the season. So another reminder to subscribe to us here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, bringing you shows every single day. Just wanted to hop on the mic. Earlier today, I did put out a video of some young players who have been showing out and shining for the Niners during training camp. Be sure to check that video out. Going live with Larry Krueger tomorrow on his show. We do that at 1:45 p.m. Eastern, 10:45 a.m. Pacific. So be on the lookout for that. Some of those live shows go crazy. Really good Niners talk. And Larry Krueger, for those of you in the Bay Area, going back to KNBR. I think I heard him say during one of his KNBR appearances, it's his 3rd trip back to KNBR. So he's going to be doing a weekly show Monday through Friday, and it's just some really good Niners talk from me and from him. So I hope to see you there. Continue to check us out here on the Niners Report. And if you're still watching right now, give me a real one.